From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of evenings as Lalate with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022 and the breaking developing details of those $80,000 of checks. You need them in view of the changing developing details tonight on interest rates, recession, and inflation. We'll go big money happening. First, the Build Back Better Act will happen despite what's happening internationally and back at home. Second, $80,000 of checks are going out and you need it because of the recession potentially looming. And then the big money for third stimulus as viewers cleaning up with $26,000 from watching this show last night of the big success story across the board. And then at the same time as third and fourth is sixth stimulus. Yes, this is the biggest stimulus package you'd ever see in the History's channel, all happening at the same time. But the great news as we start a big night is that the Build Back Better Act happening. Big checks, lots of checks, $80,000 across the land. The fourth stimulus add-on, $80,000 of checks now live. I'm going to show you how members of this channel have already gotten their applications on file and how they're ready to pounce. We'll be turning to Vladimir Putin and why he's causing sixth stimulus. We'll be looking at wheat, grain, oil, and the situation unfolding about China. Meantime, the banking industry potentially heading to a meltdown because guess what? Vladimir Putin may default. Did he default today? And will he default on a $2 billion loan repayment due on April 4th? It would send us into recession. Then we go over the CR with a major new twist tonight across the board. We'll be looking at the money for gas and why gas is heating up and is not settling down. Wheat, why it's getting worse. Why the banking industry may need a bailout like you haven't seen since day one of the Obama administration. And why Vladimir Putin is causing economic destruction internationally. And we're just getting started because it could get worse in the next week. All the latest details internationally and how it impacts your money at home. But folks, we have a massive recording. It's America's most watched show in prime time for financial news, and you found it. It's Evenings LA. And tonight we're going to go over those $80,000 of checks now paying out. The big money for third stimulus, $26,000 viewers got this week on top of those $45,000. And the big money that we go into the weekend with sixth stimulus coming around the corner. All those details and more, plus how to get these checks, how to get this money. It's a big night. Vladimir Putin ain't going to take your $80,000 of checks, nor is China, nor is anything that's happening internationally. The only thing that will take it is for you not to push that button and get it. Recession coming, and Evenings LA starts right now. And good evening, everybody. The big night unfolds for March 17th, 2022 from Santa Monica, California. Interest rates, inflation, recession, very confusing situation. Tonight we'll go over all the situation that you need to know and why you have pounced. So proud of the membership of this channel, getting $80,000 of checks this week. And it's huge, and I'm going to show you how to get it. The other viewers getting $27,000 on top of that. It's all happening. Have you gotten this big sum of money? It's coming up in tonight's recording. Then we'll be looking at the money on the horizon, SS300, the $2,600 that we've waited for, the big money for sixth stimulus, and everything about that CR for stimulus back on, baby. It's a big night with a lot of money. We're going to go right in to the exciting details of the Build Back Better Act. Fourth stimulus. It's happening. A new letter from the White House to legislators and another letter from legislators to the White House says that whatever happening with Putin, pass for stimulus. That letter obtained by LA News from March 14th, 2022, and the second one says that we need to pass for stimulus, and they're getting it to ready for a vote. This is huge. The House passed the for stimulus recon last year, and the Senate still has it. Let's go over the incredible checks one at a time, because folks, there's a lot of checks in there, and it pays you a lot of money. How much? $15,000 to $80,000. Let's look at all those checks starting right now. 3 clusters and 3 add-ons with huge sums of money. $15,000. Are you ready? Let's get to it right now. First cluster has a pay. Essential workers, 1 more year of the earned income tax credit. $4,000 of elder care, got it in there. $4,000 of care for young children, got it in there. The CTC, $3,600, got it in there. 1 more year. And the Pell Grant, brand new, $550 checks. Brand new $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. And also brand new home repairs, got it in there. That is the first of 3 clusters in the Build Back Better Act that Congress, in that new letter obtained by LA News, says they're going to do it and set it for a vote in just a few days. $25,000 of money to buy your first home. Yes, it got in there. It got in there via Maxine Waters. This is the first of 3 add-ons of checks that got in there. Money that would be given to the seller in your name at the time of escrow. Just a little less than $25,000. It's huge, and they got it in there. Incredible, great news. As we turn to the second cluster of checks, even more across the board. In that second cluster of checks, home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave is a fortune. What is it? If you have to stay home due to sickness or illness, you get it. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you get it. And it's about $1,700 for you. If you make $35,000, about $800 a week for you. $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week for you. $4,000 to $6,000 on average nationwide. W-2, 1099, you get it. It's incredible. And if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, they're going to get the check for you across the board. As we turn to the second add-on of checks from Bob Casey, it's huge. It's incredible. It is great. It's a little bit less than $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Now, as we go to that third cluster check, seniors and free internet. The seniors getting lots of checks on the free internet, incredible. Already in the second stimulus, go to that community page to get that free internet. But the big money from that third cluster is huge. First, they got in there checks for farmers, then checks for independent contractors. Then they got in there free internet for all checks, and then the big money for the seniors, lots of checks. First, on the House side, they got in there the hearing aid checks and the Medicaid gap fix. And then on the Senate side, lots of checks, dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks to this recon. The other checks that they vowed to add in there are, of course, you can say it with me, MSC. MSC, what are those MSC checks? This is a body of checks that would be added to the for stimulus recon on the Senate side. So says the senators to the viewership of this channel. Who would get it? Let's go over the details right now. The legislators represent that you got a third, you get a fourth. So let's recap. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get it. Double it. Family of 4, you get it as well, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you get it as well. It's not income, it's not taxable, and it's offered on a nationwide basis. It's not state stimulus. It goes off that most recent tax return. So if that tax return had direct deposit, that's how you get paid. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter is what the legislators represent to this channel. And this is a body of checks that will be added to the for stimulus recon that already has $15,000 to $80,000 of checks in there. Now, later in this video, we'll be looking at that fourth stimulus add-on. For anyone who says they haven't gotten fourth stimulus passed, they have, because $80,000 of checks are live and they're being paid out. $80,000 not happening? Oh, no, it is happening. So congratulations to the membership of this channel who have gotten their application on file to get those $80,000 of checks. Let's tee up that map. It's incredible. It is deliciousness. That incredible map shows the landscape of $80,000 of checks from the fourth stimulus add-on, the fourth stimulus ancillary that is paying out right now. Not 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now. Yes, Build Back Better Act, not law. This is law. And $80,000 of checks are coming up to you later in this video. That is on top of the $26,000 of other checks that you can also get coming up from third stimulus later in this video. But first, let's turn to the breaking details of what's happening with that CR for stimulus first off the board. The CR for stimulus passed this last week, and it did not have a $2,000 stimulus check in there, but what it did have in there? County stimulus, yes. While Congress 2 years ago pushed back when I came up with the idea of putting a stimulus check in the CR and making U.S. history in December 2020, with them saying it doesn't belong in there, guess what they did this time around? This time around, they put a stimulus in there. In fact, lots of it. What do? They put county stimulus. There's county stimulus at CR that passed last week. Now, we're not done there yet. Why? Because the White House is coming back for another round. President Joe Biden confirms in a new series of statements that he is coming back for more money in CR 2.0. What's going on? The White House is concerned that China is suffering a major wave of COVID right now and believes that COVID could handle and happen in the United States in no less than 30 days. Problem? The White House has no money for COVID. They ran out of it, and they asked for it in the last CR. They did not get it. So they're coming back with another piece of legislation. The White House warned this week that the U.S. is out of money for booster shots, out of money for anything for COVID, and warned that the major lockdown that's hitting China right now for its sixth wave of COVID could be on U.S. soils within just weeks. And the White House knows no money. If we had the money to move, we'd be moving on. It says Jen Psaki, the press secretary. Our assessment is we need that money, and we don't have it. Democratic leadership says the White House is being set up for peril because it doesn't have the money, and we could be inflicted with a major COVID wave in less than 30 days. That is why CR 2.0 is heating up. And this is different than the other CR 2.0 from this channel a month ago. Yes, the House passed a CR going to the Senate with their version of CR merged. It's for economic relief. CR2, CR3 merging in the Senate. Republican Young wants to merge it with the Aguilar version from the House. It's incredible. That is where we are on the CR front. Now, let's go to the SS300 front. Major developing details this week, and I'm going to analyze it for you like you've never seen it analyzed before. What is SS300? SS300 is Joe Biden's platform as president. Yes, platform as president, not just as campaign, but as president. At joebiden.com, you can read it, to swap your COLA out for inflation. How does this work? If you swap COLA out for inflation right now, you lock in the highest price point for inflation of a generation, 8%. That is why swapping out for COLA for inflation right now makes sense, because if you did, you would raise your benefits about $200 a month. Now, later this year, if inflation went to 4%, you get another $100. That would be SS300. Shows hashtag Joe make the phone call. He has to make that phone call to the Secretary of Social Security and say, hey, swap that COLA for inflation. Now, here's part of the equation. Jay Powell is trying to reduce that inflation. And you don't want Joe Biden to wait, because guess what? Inflation's coming down. Let's go over the analysis starting right now. Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, has to bring down inflation. And he has several meetings, a meeting per month over the next few months, called the FOMC meetings, at which he can battle inflation. With how? Raising interest rates. So what did he do at the FOMC meeting of March 2022, which concluded yesterday? He did exactly what he said he would do with interest rates, quarter basis point, aka 25 basis point, which is fine, because if Joe swaps out COLA for inflation today, you're fine. You're locking in that 8% because we're still there. 25 basis point for March, not bringing us down for interest rates. It's the April number that worries me badly. Why? Because Jay Powell said in this month's FOMC meeting that he's doing 175 basis points at the moment for the next 6 meetings. 6 meetings? Yes, not doing 5 meetings of spikes. He's going to do 6. So what does this mean? This means that with 175 basis point, which is 25 times 6 over the next 6 meetings, inflation will plummet by December. But will it plummet by April? Let's go over the analysis right now. At the current price, at the current guidance from Jay Powell, 25 basis point now, does not get a big drop of inflation. So Joe, make the phone call right now. Hashtag Joe, make the call. 8% will lock you in a lifetime. $200 a month, and not just this month, not just this year, but a lifetime. What about 1 month from now? Well, if it's 25 basis point for the month of April, you're still good. Maybe about 7.5% inflation. Here's why you're good. I'll tell you why. The bond traders believe that inflation is actually hotter than 8%. Now, if it's too hot, let me warn you, if inflation is too hot going into April, Jay Powell is going to hit it with a machete and bring it with 50 basis point or a half basis point. This is what we're worried about. It's called hard landing, not soft landing. March was a soft landing, soft at 25 basis point. If inflation comes in too hot for this month of March, you're going to have a hard landing, and a hard landing is very scary. So let me go over the numbers that suggest one way or the other to suggest why Joe needs to make that call right now. First, retail sales released yesterday suggest inflation's actually weaker. They came in at 0.3% lower than the estimate. It was a bad number. Auto sales fell. Retail sales fell. So that suggests that inflation is actually weaker, meaning you're good right now, meaning Jay Powell would likely not do a half basis point next month. What other numbers did we have? We had the producer price index number come in this week. And along with that, we also had the retail sales numbers. Online sales fell 3.7%. Fell, meaning it was weaker. Also good for you, weaker numbers for inflation. The PPI was a miss on Tuesday. The CPI was a hit on last Thursday. So what am I concerned about? I'm concerned about the bond traders trading out the 10-year Treasury note to 2+ this week in the last 7 days after it was 1.8. They know better than anyone else. And if they think they need to trade it up, what are they saying? Inflation's too hot. So you don't want a hard landing, meaning a half basis point. You want a soft landing. And that's why Joe made the phone call. Joe made the call before Jay Powell reduces it. Now, here's where I'm also worried. I'm worried about December because the guidance from Jay Powell is very myopic, very confusing, and very unclear. In fact, on the evening's broadcast right before this, I said that he wants to bring it down to about a 1.5%, 1.9% inflationary rate in December. It's very unclear. I keep on reviewing his notes. And even him, he's not clear where he wants to bring that inflationary number. We originally thought he's going to bring it to 4% later this year, which would be SS300, another $100 on top of your existing $200 on top of that. But the guidance from Jay Powell this week suggests that maybe he wants to go 1.9%. Folks, you do not want to hope for 1.9% inflation later this year. That would be $25, $50, $80 on top of your existing benefits. Is not much. So let's recap. 8% right now, $200 more per month. 6%, that would be like $175 more per month right now. December, if it's 1.9, that's like $60. 4%, that's about $100. You want to get that 8% right now, $200 more per month, and you want to hope that Jay Powell changes his mind and stays at about 4%, which is where he was just a month ago. For December, that would be another $100. That would be $300 more per year. I'll be watching this over the next 30 days because Jay Powell, remember, it's not one guy. He has to get all the governors to agree upon where they're going. And when he says 175 basis points, what does that mean? It's good news. It means he's saying, I'm going to do 25 basis points like he did this month for the next 6 meetings, meaning we're not going to plummet overnight. Good, Joe, make the call. Hashtag Joe, make the call. I'll feature more of this analysis tomorrow morning, live on air on Mornings Lalate. But now let's go back to $80,000 of checks and $26,000. Let me explain what's going on. Third stimulus passed by the Congress in January, spring of 2021 is still paying out. And the second half of this video, I'm going to show you how viewers of this channel in the last 7 days have gotten enormous sums. $26,000. $30,000 from third stimulus. This is you if you're on benefits. This is you if you're a renter. This is you if you're a homeowner. You're going to get it. You're also, if you're a homeowner, going to get $80,000 of checks from fourth stimulus. Fourth stimulus law for this. Third stimulus law for this. Sixth stimulus becoming law in April and will overlap and happen at the same time. There's a numbering system on this channel. Learn it. It's not sequential, meaning you don't have to finish third before you get fourth. They happen at the same time. You don't have to do fourth before you get sixth. They happen at the same time. Fifth stimulus, we've jumped over, which is for seniors to reform the Social Security Administration. That's likely to happen after sixth stimulus, was expected to happen in April. So their numbering systems does not mean one happens before the other. It's just for me to separate them out. I can give them colors. I can give them lobster names. I can give them labeled check names. I can give them talking cow names. I'm giving them numbers. So in the second half of this video, what are we looking at? Those $80,000 of checks. Let's get a preview of that right now. Fourth stimulus recon, Build Back Better, not a law, but this is law. It's an add-on. It's an ancillary piece of fourth stimulus. It's $80,000 of stimulus checks. It was announced by the White House 3 Fridays ago, coming up this Friday. And as soon as it was announced, I featured for my members. It went right into the membership newsletter. Guess where it also went? It went into the wastebasket in other broadcast media. They never covered it. They never will. You're never going to hear this anywhere else except here. That's why this channel is the #1 in prime time for financial news. As soon as announced by the White House, it went right into the membership newsletter, delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. What is it? First, let's go over how you get it. You become a member, and it's sent to you in that membership newsletter Monday through Friday. Number 2, what is it for? It's for someone who owns a home. Number 2, 3. What if I'm a renter? Then you're going to get third stimulus. And I have big success stories. Another one tonight on Evenings LA. Viewers who have watched the show have gotten $26,000 this week, on top of the $45,000 they got last year. Yes, I got money for all of you in the second half. Then we'll be looking at the situation for sixth stimulus. First stimulus, COVID. Second stimulus was for COVID. They did not get it passed. Third stimulus was for coming out of COVID, Biden stimulus. Fourth stimulus, the Build Back Better Act, coming out of COVID. And then fifth stimulus for seniors. Sixth stimulus, the biggest stimulus package you have seen since even first. Yes, this is Putin-caused stimulus. It is for a series of major issues, and we go over all those major issues in the second half. They are because of oil, because of wheat and the commodities, because of debt like China, and also the Russian potential debt default, its implications on the U.S. economy. It's the biggest stimulus package. It's part of a trifecta of allegiance of France, Germany, and the United States. It's coming up in the second half of this video. But first, we're going to be looking at those $80,000 of checks. And the incredible membership, boy, you've done so well. They pounced in the last 3 days, last 7 days, last 2 weeks to get these big checks. As recession's looming, inflation's looming, we'll look at that situation tonight in the second half of this video. But first, we'll be looking at those big checks and everything you need to know. It's Evenings LA, America's most watched show in prime time. The second half comes up in just a second. But first, if you need money for rent and utilities and you want to reach out to the volunteers, well, guess what? They're there to help across the land. See you back in 60 seconds as a big evenings of LA continues live from direct from Santa Monica this beautiful day. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on a big evening's Lalate of March 17th, 2022. The breaking details as interest rates continue to surge. Is inflation surging as well? We don't know. And the next week, we'll see on this channel if the bond traders got it right. Trading up the 10-year Treasury note this week. If inflation is going higher, then SS300 could be in jeopardy. All the latest analysis across the board. But in the second half, we're going to look at the recessionary worries as gasoline prices unsustainable through the month of May. Wheat prices unsustainable through the month of May. And the concern about a Russian default heating up tonight. Did Russia meet its debt obligations? I have the breaking news on why that Russia default could send us into recession. Then we'll be looking at the situation for China and why China's actions could also send us into a major recession. It's a big evening's LA and it's the second half, but first we're going to go into, yes, $80,000 of fourth stimulus checks. Let's go over all the details you need to know starting right now in a big evening's broadcast. Build Back Better Act, not a law yet, but this fourth stimulus add-on of $80,000 stimulus checks is live. It is law. It is paying out. And I'm so excited for the viewership of this channel. The membership has sent me all these incredible messages in the last 24 hours saying, LA, I watched you. I'm a member. I got my application on file. It says complete and I'm in line. I'm in line. Those are the words I want to hear. Let's go over the details right now. This program is for stimulus checks for you. Announced by the White House 3 Fridays ago. It has not been live for 3 Fridays ago, but I first announced it as soon as the White House announced it into the membership newsletter. It went live then the following Monday. It's been live for about 2 weeks. Guess what? You need to pounce. First, what is it? It's a homeowner's grant. How do you get it? The eligibility is a same as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 or less annual income, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you can get it. You do not double it or triple it like fourth stimulus checks or third stimulus checks. The amount is $15,000 to $80,000. It's called, for purposes of this recording, the homeowner's grant. But the membership newsletter gives you the complete name. It's not called the homeowner's grant as the complete name. Number one, you already see the income qualifications. Number two, if you are on benefits, you can get it. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. Great question someone asked me overnight. Is it income and would disqualify me? No, it's not income. It's a grant. So it does not qualify for income for purposes of beneficiaries. Great question. Do I have to do a credit check? No, it's not a loan. Great question as well. Number three, this is money for anyone who owns a home. So if you don't own a home, stay with me. I got your money. And one viewer got $26,000 this week from watching this show. What does it pay for? It pays for mortgage assistance, property insurance, property taxes, homeowner repairs, association fees, and more. Now let's look at something. Number one, you should be a member because as a member, you get the application to go right in there. The application is delivered to you members Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the newsletter. Let's go over the details. You open that newsletter delivered 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. The first line is the gas prices today, Brent crude, domestic AAA price at the pump, then the corn and wheat prices, and then the next line is this. It gives you the information of what the program is called, gives you the link to go right into online apply, gives you the eligibility, gives you what the money is for, and gives you the opportunity to pounce, Purple Hawks, and apply. I'm so excited for the viewership of this channel. I've gotten all these wonderful messages overnight for people who have applied. And when you do, it'll tell you, you are complete. Those are the words I want to hear. You are complete. I already know you're complete, but you'll be more complete when your application's complete. And when you get that application complete, it says to you, you got it complete. Now, let me tell you where I'm not happy for you. One person, since 3 days ago, has sent me 8 private messages asking, I don't know if I should apply. I don't know if I should apply. I don't know if I should apply. Guess what? Each time I said, go apply, go apply. Each time a day passes, that person is putting 5,000, 10,000 people in front of her. And guess what? The more people in front of you, the more you're behind in line. And guess what? Eventually, the program's going to run out of money. Why would you do that? Another person said, I picked up the phone and called. Who are you calling? E.T., who are you calling? You do not call anyone. You apply. You do not wait. Other people thinking this too difficultly. I don't know if I should apply. Maybe this, maybe just apply. Do not wait. Other people are not listening to the video, and they're going and doing something else. One person said, I went and it said it's only for mortgage assistance. No, 99% of all states, this is for all the items I told you. You're looking at another program. Number two, person said, I saw I have to be behind on my bills. No, you're at the wrong place. 99% of all states, you do not have to be behind on your bills. Then some people are overthinking the map. Let's go to the map. If you look at the map, and which I'm thinking of not even showing anymore. Why? Because the map may dissuade people from applying properly. Let me tell you why. If you look at the map and you see the color teal, and I tell you, the application is being received in teal states and being paid out in teal states, which is California, Texas, Florida, then people are saying, well, I'm gray, maybe I won't apply. Let me tell you, if you're in any state, what you do is you become a member. I'll tell you why. You become a member, you go right to that website for your state, because the map is not updated hourly. It's not updated daily. You don't want to rely on the map not to apply. In fact, you want to be on that state's website and look at it. See what it says. If it says receiving applications pre-authorization mode, apply. If it says closed at the moment, refresh all throughout the day the website. Because as soon as it changes, you want to pounce. That's what we did for EIDL grants. As soon as it went live, you pounce, and 3 hours later, it was closed. That's the situation. When you apply in pre-authorization mode, like in Ohio, which was pink, maybe it isn't anymore, that means the day it goes live for a payment process, you will have a direct deposit. You don't wait for it to become teal if it's gray or pink or green. You apply as soon as they accept the applications, and they will pay you the first day it is live. Incredible, great news. So how do you get this money? You become a member. The membership link's at the top of the channel on the pinned comment. You get that membership newsletter via the YouTube alert system. Now, the YouTube alert system is the alert that sends you an alert that this video was playing. It's not sent via email, the newsletter. It's not sent via waivable checks or lobsters dancing. It's not sent via PDFs. It's sent via the YouTube alert system, web. Exactly, generally, via computer automation at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system. And that is incredible. Monday through Friday, there you go. Get that incredible newsletter and get that money right now. Now, if you're a renter, don't worry, because later in this video, I have money for you for renters, and I have another success story. Lindsay Ramirez, wow. She got utilities for 12 months from watching this channel, and she got 12 months of rent. She got 1 year of utilities or rent from watching Evenings LA, and this should be you. In the second half, later in this video, I'm going to show you how third stimulus is for renters and homeowners. You can get, as a homeowners, both. And if you're a renter, you can get these incredible sums of money. And I'm going to look at that in just a second. But first, let's turn to the developing details of sixth stimulus. Sixth stimulus is Putin's stimulus. And as I said earlier, just joined this video, you're going to see sixth stimulus heating up at the same time as third and fourth. Fourth has those $8,000 of checks. Third has that big money for renters, and sixth stimulus will happen at the same time. Why is sixth stimulus needed? It's needed because of a recession. A recession is looming because the current economic situation right now is unsustainable. So what's the backdrop of sixth stimulus? The backdrop is that Putin has caused a imbalance economically for a series of events. 1, oil. 2, wheat. 3rd, the banking industry. 4th, other industries which I don't even know that are growing by the hour. It started no less than 2 weeks ago when the trifecta of Germany, France, and the United States agreed that it needs to get off of Russian products. But in getting off of Russian products, we need to raise debt domestically amongst each of those countries to give out stimulus to our citizens. What does it look like? In the most basic forms, the concept is the following. You get off of Russian oil, gasoline prices get higher. We can't afford it. We need to give stimulus to our citizens because they can't afford $5 at the pump. Now, in its most complex form, it involves things like wheat. We can't afford a $7, yeah, you heard me right, $7 loaf of bread if we're in the United States or France or Germany. That's what's going to happen. And with that, we need to give stimulus to our citizens. So let's look at the situation of each of those events right now. I have a lot of breaking news. First, when we look at the situation for oil, it's a double whammy. The situation for oil is that we need to fix it domestically and internationally at the same time. And what is the situation tonight? Let's look at each of the prongs one at a time. First, in the United States, we can ramp up production of gasoline in the Texas region. But we haven't. Why not? Because Texas hasn't heard from the White House. Day one of the invasion, I said, White House, ramp up production. Last week, the White House said it would consider ramping up production in Texas. Consider is the key word. Didn't do it. Another week has passed, and the president has simply missed a huge step. Not good. I'm not happy. The president should have ramped up production. Why? The production would get us lower in gasoline domestically because we only import 3% from Russia. It would drop the price of gasoline at the pump because guess what? We only have about 8 weeks to survive. The 8 weeks tease up in May. What's at issue? Vladimir Putin surged our price of gasoline on day one of the invasion. Day one of the invasion, I said we have to lower the price of gasoline. It is unsustainable into May. If it sustains through May, we go into recession. What number are we looking at? In the United States, we're looking at the price of gasoline, the AAA national average, the price at the pump. $4 or higher, unsustainable. $5 or higher, unsustainable. We have tracked at $4 or higher every single day, and guess what? We're less than 8 weeks away. The solution ramping up production in Texas hasn't done it. Number one, we have to ramp up the production in the right place. West Texas reportedly won't work. Why? Because it's not refinery ready. It is not replaceable for Russian and Middle East oil. It's too rich. So where would the gasoline come? It would come off the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf area of the Texas region towards Florida. That is refinery ready, says a series of oil analysts. Not been done. Problem number one, not solved. Problem number two, not solved. The problem is bigger. Our partner allies like Germany and France are dependent on Russian oil. 40, 60% dependent on Russian oil. And they don't have something as a backup. And even worse, Vladimir Putin vowing to turn off their gasoline overnight. If Vladimir Putin turns off Germany's gasoline overnight, they're going to recession because they don't have a backup ready. And guess what? We're going to recession. If Germany falls into recession because it has no gasoline, the situation for us is horrible. And Putin has vowed to turn off the Nord Stream pipeline that feeds oil to Germany overnight. Germany has no backup. Let's look at the situation. Why Germany has no backup and our partner allies for gasoline tonight. One, after another country, the Biden administration has not shored up for gasoline replacement. First, when we look at the situation in Iraq, it is part of the OPEC Plus countries. 2 weeks ago, there was a rumor that OPEC Plus would increase production. I merely said it's a rumor. What happened? The rumor got oil traders excited, bringing down the price of gasoline. It shot right back up. Why is OPEC Plus not increasing production? Because no one's pressuring them, and because Russia's part of OPEC Plus. United Arab Emirates was day one of the Russian invasion covering this channel. I said the United States should reach out to UAE day one of the invasion and increase production among UAE, release some petroleum reserves. UAE would not. Why not? For the same reason as Iraq. Russia has gotten to the OPEC and said not increase production. 1 point for Russia. OPEC Plus not working because the White House is not pushing back on it. Situation number two, Iran. Now here it got fascinating. The United States was in Iranian negotiations for no less than several years to get Iranian oil into world circulation. How? With an Iranian deal for nuclear disarmament. That Iranian deal fell apart just a few days ago. Why? Because of Russia again. Yes, Russia keeps on getting to it. Russia Finance Minister then on Monday, March 16th, said, Anton Solonovitz, that the country's economic partnership with China will allow maintain cooperation that we have seen. This is part of Russia's interference with things. In the case of Vladimir Putin with Iran, what did he do? He told Iran to walk away from the negotiation table in Vienna last Sunday. Following Monday, they said that the negotiation can resume. Have I seen the negotiations resume? No. The Iranian deal would have Iran reduce its nuclear warheads, which it has agreed to, and then allow its oil go back in circulation, millions and millions of barrels. The problem is that Putin has interfered with those negotiations. As Putin has interfered with those negotiations, there is no Iranian oil. They're out of consideration. Then what about Venezuela? Venezuela is the biggest producer of gasoline internationally. Their gasoline is not available. Why? Because it's the most sanctioned country of the United States. Has the United States pursued a Venezuela reduction of sanction? No, it is not. So one after another, situation is folding, is getting worse. Now, how about those Republicans? They're making it worse because guess what? The Republicans have nothing to do with getting oil to our partner allies because as members of Congress, they don't have the ability to say to the president, don't negotiate a treaty. So what do? 49 of 50 Republicans this week said, do not do an Iranian deal for gasoline. What are they trying to do? They're trying to send us into recession. Not a good look. The White House says it's our duty to ensure that Iran never acquires a nuclear weapon, and we believe that the best way to do it is to constructively, with urgency, resolve the remaining issues and get the JCPO done as quickly as possible. What is the JCPO? That is the deal that the White House is trying to broker with Iran when Putin interfered last Monday. Since then, Putin's foreign minister has said that the negotiations will be reached. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, I don't buy it. He's the guy to the UN that consistently can't keep a straight story. So where is the oil tonight? The oil is tonight no better than was last night. The oil situation has no increase in production domestically, number one. Number two, Germany, France, and all those partner allies worried that Putin will just lose his marbles even more than he has done right now and turn off Nord Stream 1 overnight, and suddenly there's no oil for them, and they go into recession, and so do we. Number three, the White House, no deal with Iran, not pursuing the OPEC Plus countries to increase production, not applying pressure on OPEC Plus, not reaching out to OPEC Plus, and Venezuela not even part of the consideration. It's a bad look for the White House. Oil is the situation that every American understands. Every American, young or old, high schoolers, understand that the White House can increase production, that mom and pop are paying for $5 of the gasoline, that this is what the Biden administration understood would happen when a Putin invasion would happen. Everyone understands that Putin has caused our gasoline to go higher. Everyone understands that Biden has not increased production of gasoline domestically. So it's a bad look for the White House, and it's getting worse by the hour. Yesterday, President Zelensky spoke to members of Congress saying, hey, the White House is not doing enough, going behind the president. It was a bad look once again. Well, that's just the oil situation. What about the wheat? The wheat is more troubling. Tonight, we know that in the case of wheat, 80% of wheat for Egypt comes from Ukraine and Russia. 80% of wheat services our partner allies in some cases. And guess what? That wheat is simply not available. When you talk about wheat, it's a far worse situation than oil. In the case of oil, you can route a barge to another location overnight and get in there in 2 weeks. In the case of wheat, the crop is lost this season, next season, potentially 3 seasons. Why? The farmers of Ukraine are battling a war. They're not harvesting wheat. Gone this season. Prices go up. The 10-year average high. Then the crop for next season not being prepared because they're battling an invasion. They're fighting a war. Not prepared for next season. Lost. And the crop for 4 seasons are potentially lost because guess what? There's cluster bombing in their crops. Very troubling situation. Guess what? You, I, and everyone else cannot afford $7 a loaf of bread. That's where we're heading. How does the White House solve it? On tonight's evening's Lalate, I Stand With Ukraine Street and Stimulus Edition, I'll explain that the White House could increase production domestically of wheat, or among our partner allies. No one has even talked about this. Why have they not increased production of wheat to bring it down? Now, what about China? The situation with China is very scary. China was a subject of a 7-hour, you heard me right, 7-hour negotiations between the White House and Chinese officials in Rome this week, in which those White House officials gave China a verbal tongue lashing, saying you better not give a penny to Russia. Chinese officials immediately issued a statement saying, we were not asked for money from Russia. What did Russia do? Russia issued a statement saying, we did ask for money. Oh, boy. So very, very scary across the board. Also scary is that China is facing a very big COVID outbreak that may send it into lockdown. Has nothing to do with Putin. If that lockdown happens, guess what? Our products are impacted negatively. The situation is that our products would go into supply chain meltdown, and it continues to get worse by the hour, by the week. Now, what about the worst part of six stimulus? The worst part of six stimulus, why you really need it, is because of a banking industry implosion. The banking industry implosion is twofold. One, Russian debt default. Two, exposure to Russian debt. In the case of the second one, we don't even know. We don't even know the situation because we won't know to the bank's report. Q2, Q3. When those banks report, they will tell us how much debt they had in Russia, how much equity they had in Russian stocks. And when they do, they're going to write it off. $500 million write-off, $250 million write-off, Q2, Q4 earnings. And guess what? The banking industry could go into a major tailspin down. And guess who'd have to bail it out? Joe Biden for the second time. Yes. The Obama-Biden administration, day one, was bailing out the banking industry before it was about to go under George Bush Jr. This is why six stimulus is the most scary and the most robust stimulus package you've ever seen. It is not just oil. It is not just wheat. It's a lot of other things like China and the banking industry. Tonight, at the time of this recording, let me go over the latest details on the Russian debt default. And it's very, very complicated. I got to tell you, it's a very complicated story. First, what is this Russian debt? Russia has debt obligations that don't come due at the same time. The Russian debt obligations is often to individuals, and you don't know if those individuals get paid unless they tell you or not. So let me tell you the update on the Russian debt at the time of this recording. First, this is the first day of many debt obligations. March 17th, it's 24 hours later, of course. March 16th was the first one, but we don't know for about a day later. Let's go over the details. March 16th was the first debt obligation by Vladimir Putin. 73 million and 44 million of interest payments. Not a lot. I'm not worried about it. March 21st, 66 million. Not worried about that either. Interest. March 28th, 102 million. Interest is growing. There you go. March 31st, 88 million of interest. And here you go. 359 million of principal. Okay, this is where I start to get worried. This is a principal payment. And then April 4th, here comes the whammo. $45 million of interest and $2 billion of principal. Okay, that is the day you want to really tune into this channel. What do we learn tonight? We learned tonight about a couple things. One, Russia has the money, but it said it cannot pay the money because it's locked up in sanctions. It's a confusing situation tonight because the White House earlier today, March 17th, said, no, we've allowed you to get access to the money you can pay. And Russia initially said, oh, we did get access to the money. So it's very unclear if they do have access or don't have access to the money. That's number one. Number two, it's also unclear if they're able to meet the obligations. Why? Because we have to rely upon the debt collectors, and the debt collectors say, I got paid today. A few of the debt collectors say Russia did not default, we got paid. Other debt collectors have said, no, they've still not gotten paid. So they're actually going on record saying, no, we have not gotten paid. Very, very fluid. I got to tell you, if Russia defaults, this could send us into recession. Russia has not defaulted for decades at come. Remember, this was the number 10 largest economy in the globe. No less than day one of the invasion. It's heading to becoming a valueless, credit-worthy-less, Cuba-ish economy in just a few days. It's very, very fluid. And guess why six stimulus is needed? It's needed because economies cannot go into recession because of oil, wheat, gasoline, Putin imploding, defaults, or our U.S. banks' exposure. What is this? This is a federal given stimulus to you. It is a federal given stimulus to Germany and its citizens and its residents in France. And then it's a statewide. So you're going to see it done on an international level. You're going to see it done on a national level. And it's going to be done on a state. I first made the very first recording of this channel of six stimulus on March 8th, 2022. The night of that recording, the states came out and said, governors, one after another, saying, we're going to do a local stimulus because you cannot afford gasoline at these prices. And gasoline's not going down, so we'll help you out, citizens. Wow. Federal, international, and state. It's six stimulus. Now, third stimulus is still paying out. That incredible third stimulus has paid viewers so much money. And we go over that incredible money of it right now with another success story overnight. Wow. I'm so excited. And for the first time in a while, I'm going to do a little bit tough love for you. When we look at all the packages that are paying out or about to pay out, where are we? First, SSI, that SS300, SS200, right there in front of us on the edge of the finish line. Six stimulus, which we just went over, the Putin stimulus, right on the edge of the finish line, April, waiting to see if President Macron is reelected. If he is, the trifecta of those three countries' leaders, Germany's chancellor, Joe Biden here, and Macron in France, will tee up that six stimulus. Third stimulus is paying out, and fourth stimulus, that $80,000 of checks is going out. So third stimulus, congratulations to Lindsay Ramirez. I got rent for the next 12 months. Incredible. And I got utilities for the next 12 months. Incredible. She got $500 per month to cover her rent for the next 12 months, every month for 12 months. And she got $1,000 for a month every month. Oh, sorry, that's for the utilities. And she got $1,000 to cover her month for utilities every month for 12 months. I have gotten rent assistance since September last year, and this was in New York, and I'm just waiting for more funds, and it's incredible. Thank you, LA. Third stimulus pays for renters and homeowners. Homeowners can also get not only third stimulus, but the $80,000 of checks. So let's go over the success stories for this rent. And how do you do it? You become a member. If you're not a member, follow along with me. I'm going to go over all these incredible checks starting right now. You're going to reach out to 6 places to get this incredible money. And it's available across the land, every state, every county, any city housing authority. You can get this money right now. Where do you get it? You want to reach out to all 6 places. Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, and your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. 3 things you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must do multiple rounds, and you must get multiple applications on file. Open that incredible newsletter that comes out tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because guess what? You can get not only homeowners grants of $80,000, but this money for third stimulus. This week, the success stories for rent continue to come on in, and just incredible. As Johnny Harvamoth this week, I think I just butchered that name. My apologies, Johnny. Johnny Harvathan, there we go, got $26,000 for rent. The week before, we had viewers getting $30,000, $40,000, all from watching Evenings LA. Which brings me to a tough love moment right now. I think we need a little bit of tough love. What is the tough love? Fourth stimulus. Anyone who comes into a live chat and says, what happened? Did they vote on fourth stimulus? You're lazy. Anyone who comes into a video and says, whatever happened to fourth stimulus? What's the latest update? Can anyone recap me? You're lazy. And anyone who says third stimulus, I never got a penny from third stimulus. I made one phone call for 5 minutes and they said there's nothing there. You're lazy. Why am I saying they're lazy? Because they are lazy. In the case of Johnny, featured in countless videos of this channel last month, Johnny made 17 calls in 1 week to get $80,000. Not from this $80,000, from just third stimulus. He made 17 phone calls. Nisi made more than one phone call. John made more than one phone call. If you make one phone call and you get a no and you stop and you say, there's no money for third stimulus, all I gotta say is, yes, there is. You're lazy. You wanted a no. You desired a no to stop, because the people who got the big money from third stimulus, the average channel, this viewer of this channel getting 45,000, they did not make one phone call. I've made countless videos where I said these people made more than one phone call. If you make one phone call and stop, I got to tell you, you're lazy. Now, I also got to tell you something else. If you are wanting that $80,000 of checks and you got an application on file and it's complete, you are not lazy. You are purple power. You pounced, because that is what pouncing as purple power is. You heard me say that the application for this $80,000 of fourth stimulus checks is live. You panicked. You wanted the membership newsletter right away. You want to be first in line. You understood me when I said, don't let this a day go past, a week go past, an hour go past. Get your application on file, because every hour, thousands of people get in front of you in your state. They go to the website, they apply. You got frantic. You said, I want to become a member. I want that newsletter. I want to pounce. That's the good approach. And when you said it's complete, you felt complete because you got it on file. Finally, yes, I got another person who's lazy. Anyone who jumps into the live chat and says, I only want this, whatever it is. I only want home repairs. I only want MSC. I only want SS300. I only want the $25,000 to purchase a new home. I only want bacon, lettuce, and tomato. I got to tell you, this is Lalate. This is not Priceline. Name your stimulus. You are setting yourself up for trouble, my friend, my darling. If you say, of all these items from third stimulus, fourth stimulus, sixth stimulus, I just want one item. Guess what? Don't do that. Don't do that, because you qualify for all these other items. Do you not want money? Go get it. Don't say I only want one item, because you're defeating the purpose of this channel. When this channel launched, on day one, I didn't have one video. I had several videos to get you several items of money. On year one's anniversary, I had several videos to get you several items of money. And as we approach the 2-year anniversary for April 25th, 2022, I have several videos covering third stimulus still paying out, fourth stimulus still paying out, and now sixth stimulus about to pay by the time of that video. Yes, there are a lot of checks and you want to get every check. You never want to say, I only want one check, because that, again, is also lazy. You don't want to be lazy. Day one of this channel, I told viewers, if you pick up the phone, you call EIDL and you say, and you get someone on the phone who says no, don't take no for an answer. Never take no for an answer. Get that application on file. Get every penny as you can. The update tonight is that sixth stimulus will happen, whether there's a ceasefire or there's not a ceasefire. The economic destruction that Vladimir Putin has done to world economies and his impact on our economy is horrible. He has impacted everything from seatbelt manufacturers of U.S. auto manufacturers in Ukraine. Did you know that the number one producer of seatbelts for U.S. auto manufacturers who distribute their cars in Europe is Ukraine? The cars, the seatbelts go into those cars are made in Ukraine. And guess what? They don't have seatbelts. And then what happens? They can't deliver cars. How many? 2 million is the estimate to Western Europe and Eastern Europe. That's going to hit those U.S. auto manufacturers. Everyone, including your neighbor, is going to be negatively impacted by Vladimir Putin. Whether it's wheat, grain, soybeans, corn, gasoline. And guess what? That is why the sixth stimulus package is the biggest you've ever seen in the history of this channel. Jay Powell, he really has a big tight rope to walk. Hard landing, soft landing. He does not want to send us into stagflation, where the economy is shrinking because of Vladimir Putin and world potential recession, and that suddenly we're stagnating as an economy and inflation is growing. And he does not want to come in too hard and stir the growth factor to go negatively. That is why it's a very fluid situation. The next 2 months are perhaps the most important 2 months on this channel of 2022. Why? Because we will see what's going on with this economy. You have to understand that there's a lot of money, and I want you to get a lot of money right now, because we don't know if we still will see $5 a gallon in the pump in May. Oh boy, if we do, we're going to recession. We don't know if we're going to see $5 a loaf of bread in May. We're going to recession. We don't know if banks will report massive corporate earning losses because of investment in Russian bonds in May. We're going to recession. That is why you can't miss a single hour, a single day, or a single broadcast of the most watched show in prime time. It's Evenings Lalate every night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and something Central. 7 o'clock Central. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown, if you're watching this live and if you're watching this in prime time. And tonight, Street and Stimulus, where I go over the analysis more in depth of what Putin's doing that impacts our economy and home. From the shores of Santa Monica to the shores of the Black Sea, our prayers are with the people of Ukraine. The situation getting worse by the hour. All the latest update from the battlefield as we go into a big night. I send my wishes and thoughts to all of them, and I wish you to as well. As Evenings Lalate continues from tonight to tomorrow morning, live on air on Mornings Lalate. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with Lalate for more.